anyway, in terms of the 9 key principles to sound healing, number 8, as you see on your notes, is commitment. And this, I guess, kind of has a special place in my heart because of all the attention intention gets, which isn't to, downplay the importance of intention. It is very important, but a lot of people talk about it, and for some reason, I don't hear as much stuff about commitment. And commitment is vitally important. For instance, we all know people that have the best of intentions, and then they don't follow through with what they say they're going to do. And this is a pet peeve of mine. I have people in my life that are very, very on point and very communicative and follow through with everything that they say they're going to do and that sort of thing. And other people that are just, I don't know, they have, maybe poor habits or are unable to do that. And so in terms of healing and understanding these principles and empowering yourself, it's important to factor in all of these keys, these key principles. And with commitment, it comes down to the smallest things to the biggest things. I always explain to people that your life and your healing will work in direct proportion to the commitments and agreements that you make and keep with others, and according to the level of intention you hold and the clarity of that intention and the love you put into it, the love that you express as a healer, as a person, at what you want to heal. And so there's, I'm going to give you a handout, in fact, that kind of outlines this. It's kind of similar to these 9 core keys, but it just emphasizes a few of them, like commitment. And so it starts with, being committed to yourself, because it's difficult to really be committed to others if you're not committed to yourself. And we know that in this town. Patrice and I were talking about the difference between the East Coast work ethic and the Chicago Midwest work ethic and the West Coast. I don't like to generalize, and I don't want to be unfair to California or the people in it, but I've noticed, what I think Patrice may have noticed too, that there seems to be this different laid back, we'll do it when we have time, or, I'm too busy, or they just ignore it altogether and they don't communicate or follow through, and there's all this, well, my girl will call your girl, or let's do lunch, and all this stuff that never happens, and it's just a frustrating thing, and it's one of my pet peeves, and it's also one of the reasons I respect Victoria so much, because like me, since I've known her, she always follows through on what she says and does. She calls me, she sends emails, she communicates if there's something that's unclear. And that's how I am, and I really, really appreciate that, and I really respect it. And so this is important to me, because it's also an important part of healing, and for you, for your own character and your own, and like the example I give, the littlest things that you do for yourself. For instance, following through on your dietary needs, following through on your exercise program, or your agreement with somebody you're working with or in a relationship with, or whatever it might be. If as clear and as honorable as you are in honoring those things and following through on those little commitments, you're going to be that much more empowered and effective, because commitment works on a lot of levels, but it starts with yourself. If you're doing these things for yourself, like your personal cleaning and like I said, exercising and whatever it might be, and then that extends to your ability to be able to do that with the people you interact with at work or in personal relationship or whatever. You're going to be a lot better at following through on those commitments. And then when it comes to healing, and whether it's healing with yourself and that commitment to really focus in on what you need to focus in yourself, you're not diluted by a lack of self-love. And that's what happens. If you don't honor the commitments with yourself, it's difficult to honor the commitments with others. If you don't honor the commitments with yourself and others, how are you going to be committed to really be focused and empowered when your subconscious mind is telling you, dummy, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't call so-and-so, you didn't... This stuff, you can't ignore it. I mean, you might ignore it consciously in the moment, not be aware of it, but it's in your subconscious mind, and it eats away at our self-esteem. It eats away at the relationship with ourselves and how we perceive ourselves, particularly on the subconscious level. And that's why I emphasize in my definition of healing how important it is to be committed to what we do. And if it's too much that we can handle, we can always change our commitments. We can always say, step back and say, I can't do this right now. Say it to ourselves and maybe be a little gentler with ourselves and don't bite off more than we can chew. No problem with that. The main thing is just being in control of your thoughts and emotions. That's kind of what it comes down to. And then similarly with somebody else, if you find you're not honoring your personal relationship or business relationship or whatever it might be in the way that you had intended to or promised to, then just communicate about it and say, okay, well, you step back, you change your commitment. So as long as nothing's set in stone, when you make commitments, you can always alter them. But don't rationalize, don't be constantly breaking commitments with yourself, breaking with others, or not communicating about them. As long as the flow of communication is there, self-honesty is there, some discipline with the mind and emotions, that's the key. And so this particular principle of commitment number 8 is I feel vitally important. For some reason, I don't hear people talking about this like they do about intention, which is also important. And all these keys are important, but I don't know why this one kind of gets left over, and I think it's vitally important. So that's number 8.